Hey everybody, happy Monday. Today, we're talking about Gelips. The Gelip soft gel type full cover extension system is one of my favorite ways to do enhancements in the Kokoist line. These full coverage tips are pre-etched, which is really amazing, very skinny, very thin, and they're designed to be placed away from the cuticle, and then you're gonna blend them and overlay them with your gel of choice. This makes it a much more customizable service, this makes it a fillable service, and it just looks and feels so natural. I'm a huge fan of this system. Now, because the initial application has a couple more steps added to it than your regular, usual kind of soft gel enhancement system, there's been a couple questions that have come up in our DMs that we thought we would talk about today. So I'm here with 5 troubleshooting tips for how to make your gel lips look and last absolutely amazing. Let's get into number 1. One of the most important things when you are applying these tips is considering and being really accurate with your sizing. Gel lips have been recently reformulated and changed up a little bit. You'll see there's a really pretty new gold seal here that says new formula. And we've actually increased the size range of these tips, as small as a 9 and as big as a 00, which fits my thumbs. And I am a man with man thumbs, so I'm very happy that we have these 00s now. So when you are sizing these to apply them onto a client, it's very important that the fit is very neat and tidy on their natural nail plate. You want the sides of the tip to really comfortably meet the sidewalls. You don't want them to go over the skin, and you do not want them to be inside of those sidewalls. If those tips reach over the skin, you're going to get gel flooding onto the skin, and it's going to be really difficult to file these and refine them to make them look natural. If they are too small for the nail bed, then you are going to get into some notching when you are applying your gel over top, because you're going to have a little bit of a step where you're not going to be able to actually make a beautiful enhancement that blends into the sidewall, and this is going to lead to problems with cracking down the road. You can file these in if you do feel like your client is a little bit in between, like a 6 and a 7. You could take like a 7 and file it down so it's like a 6.5. That is absolutely okay. These are very flat because they're designed to be overlaid. They don't have a huge amount of apex to them, so filing them in a little bit is not going to be the end of the world. Because these are so thin and so flexible as well, you can actually pinch them and make them a little bit more curved. They can follow the barrel of the nail a little bit better if you actually curve them like that before you go in and apply them. You can also adversely put them on your table and flatten them a little bit if you have a client with a very flat nail bed. Those are 2 ways that you can kind of customize these tips on top of filing and properly sizing them. It's also important to note that if you have a client and you know all of their sizes in the almond medium, they may have different sizes when you go ahead and switch to something like a square medium. There are very small discrepancies between the sizes in certain shapes just to account for the way that they are shaped, and in order to make those square nails very square and perfect and the almond nails same way, there's just very small differences in the sizing. So make sure whenever you're applying a new set that you are sizing them out every time. You can also always go to the Kokoist website where they have a sizing chart available for every single size and shape available. All right, that's tip 1. Tip number 2 is your application. Obviously, we want our application to be as clean as possible. So to a bare nail, you're going to want to apply a coat of Mega Stick base and cure this fully. And to the underside of your Gelip tip, to that pre-etched area, after you cleanse it with alcohol, you are going to be applying the Super Gelip Bond. And this is what you're going to use to cure the tip onto the nail plate. It's going to take some practice to find this sweet spot of how much Super Gelip Bond to apply underneath the tips for you. It's going to be probably less than you think because these tips are more on the flat side. You really do not need to use too much gel, but you don't want so little that it ends up causing bubbles underneath the tip itself. So not so little that you get bubbles, not so much that you get flooding. There's a little bit of a happy medium there. Now, something I always like to talk about, if for whatever reason you're a little light-handed with the Super Gelip Bond, you apply your tip and it does end up having a couple bubbles underneath it. Because the method of application with these is to apply them away from the tip, blend them with your e-file or your hand file, and then overlay them with gel, because we have that added step of blending with your hand file or e-file, you can take that opportunity to file out any bubbles or lifted areas underneath your Gelip tip before you overlay with your builder gel. So it's a little more forgiving that way. All right, tip number 3, product selection. So really when it comes right down to it, any of our builders can be used to overlay these Gelip tips. We typically recommend the use of platinum filler base. This is our favorite product to overlay the Gelip tips. You could also use the Nail Thoughts builder bases in clear or a tinted version if you like. Or you could use the Excel Builder Clear, especially if you are dealing with a long length enhancement. This is going to be a really great product to use to overlay those tips. So take, for example, the Nail Thoughts tinted builder bases. These builder bases are really, really great for short to medium length nails, but if you're using this product for a very, very long nail, then you're going to run into some issues. It's just too soft. You're going to end up getting some cracking. So this is where it's important to take a step back and say, okay, what can this nail handle? Which product should I be using for this client? Especially if they've got very short nail beds. Even if they have a very short nail bed and a short to medium length Gelip tip, that short nail bed is not going to be able to support a lot of length as an enhancement. So you're going to want to use something a little bit stronger. And that does roll into my tip number 4, length selection. There's a baddie in all of us, right? We all kind of wish we could be those clacky girls with the super long nails, and some people are really, really good at it, and some people have the nails that can support that length, and that is so cool. But if you have a client that, say, has very damaged, brittle nails that have very short nail beds, those nails are not going to be able to support a very long enhancement for more than a week, very likely. You're very, very likely to get many issues down the road, lifting, cracking, breaking, or just popping right off just because there's no support there. So with a client like that, it's definitely better to start slow, start short, give them a shorter enhancement and use a nice builder gel that's going to support that enhancement and give them a chance to kind of get used to it and give their nails a chance to get used to it. If you've got healthy, beautiful nails with long nail beds, honey, go for it. Go for the extra long. Go nuts. I implore you. Now, my tip number 5 here is gonna be aftercare. My last tip is always aftercare. I preach up and down that aftercare is just as much of a step of your service as every other step of the service while you are sitting in the chair. You always want to advise your clients to treat their nails with respect. Don't use them as tools. Make sure they're staying nourished and moisturized, especially with enhancements. A lot of people can be very empowered that they're like, oh, I've got this super long nail now. I can just screw in this screw with my beautiful square nail. No, no, we don't do that. And regular maintenance appointments are key to the success of any kind of enhancement. Anything over 3 weeks, 4 weeks max is going to run into problem areas because the weight of that enhancement is moving forward on that client's natural nail, and it's going to end up causing lifting from the back end because everything is just off balance. So don't be afraid to just lay down the law a little bit with your clients because it's going to benefit them as well as you. So there you go, 5 quick tips on how to improve your Gelip services. I hope you learned something. As always, if you guys have any additional questions, we have our cute little comment section right down below. Feel free to drop your questions in there. We'll do our very best to get back to you as quickly as possible. Stay busy, stay inspired. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you right back here in 7 days for another episode of Monday Masters. Take care.